So, we have a race going on right now, both in AI and humanoid robots. And to me, it's pretty simple, but I still hear people, even in the tech industry and so-called AI experts, saying they don't believe in humanoid robots, some in the near term and some even in the long term. So that is why I had to make this video, to warn you that you could be missing out on the biggest opportunity in history. This is of course not financial advice, do your own research, but we are standing in front of the biggest opportunity ever, and this is not just betting on a company, as this is much bigger than one company. As humanoid robots will allow any nation to massively expand the workforce and thus grow its economy on a productivity per capita basis to a degree that has simply been physically impossible until now. So let me show you why this is so important to understand and why Tesla is the bet for the ages. And let's dive right in. So, as Rethink X also shared in their research this year for their humanoid robots, throughout history, every time technology has enabled a 10x or greater cost reduction relative to the incumbent system, a disruption has always followed. As in many markets, there will be a high-end and low-end humanoid robot offering once deployment begins in earnest. For the purpose of illustration, consider a humanoid robot with a total lifetime cost of $200,000 that works 20,000 hours before decommissioning. Its labor would cost $10 per hour. Even at this relatively high cost point, humanoid robots are already competitive with human labor in a substantial fraction of the global economy. In reality, lifetime cost of humanoid robots are likely to be far less than $200,000 from the start. As Elon is talking about, Optimus robot could cost between $10,000 to $20,000 when in volume production. So that is a 10x cheaper than this example, so about $1. So labor for $1, well, that is definitely 10x cheaper than most human labor. And when humanoid robots will be produced in millions, they are bound to become much cheaper still. The Rethink X thinks that by 2045, the labor cost associated with a humanoid robot can reach as low as 10 cents per hour. I don't think we have any humans on the planet left that will be working for that low cost. So how some big YouTubers like Marcus Brownlee don't even think Tesla will ever make a humanoid robot.
So there's no good reason I can think of for a humanoid robot to exist out there in people's hands anyway. But hey, it makes a lot of good headlines. It's obviously something we've been fascinated with forever and will continue to be for a long time. And it could just be one more form factor that Tesla's exploring. And also, when have they ever said no to a good free PR opportunity?
He just thinks it's a nice PR stunt. It's just beyond my understanding. Because as he said, he could not even see a use case for a humanoid robot. I mean, what? So he can't think of a use case for labor, as we will essentially be printing labor. So the use cases are basically endless, but Marcus can't think of one use case. So to be fair to Marcus, he knows a lot about phones and computers, but very little about Tesla, the company. He knows something about their cars because he test drives them, but he does not know the company. But to say he can't see any use cases for a humanoid robot is just insane in my view. Labor is an essential input into every link of every supply chain of every product and service across the entire global economy. But Marcus can't think of one single use case. Humanoid robots will have such a huge impact on everything, because that also means as the cost of labor falls, so will the cost of everything else. I know Marcus much more believe in the specialized robot like the lawnmower or vacuum cleaner, but again I have to disagree here. Sure, there will also be lawnmowers and vacuum cleaners. The humanoid robot will not take their jobs, but the humanoid robot will be able to do everything else the specialized robot can't do, but a human can. Take out the trash, it can do that. Walk the dog, it can do that. Clean the house, it can do that. Cut the hedge, it can do that. Cook your food, it can do that. Wash your clothes, it can do that. Work in any factory, it can do that. And basically every other job the 3.5 billion human workforce does, a human robot will eventually be able to do. So when a company goes bankrupt, let's say they have 1,000 humanoid robots in that factory doing a task, well, those robots can be shipped to any other factory and do a completely new job. They might have been working as a welder or something like that, but now they have to work as a florist or a carpenter. The use cases are endless. It's like when Tesla went from welding 170 pieces together to make the gigacasting instead. They suddenly had 300 robots in their factory that no longer had any use cases. And because their only function was to weld, they can only go to another car factory that needs robots exactly like that. The world is built for us humans, and we will build humanoid robots for the world. In my view, this is inevitable. But it won't be anytime soon, right? Well, this is where I also think people are getting it wrong, because firstly, we have to look back and see just how quickly it has gone so far. Just 2 years ago, Tesla didn't even have a robot, and today they have a very nice and capable robot that is actually autonomously already doing some task in their factories. And we are seeing a race going on right now because the market, according to ARK Invest, is at least $30 trillion. So everyone is going to run as fast as they can so they don't miss out on the biggest opportunity in human history. And at the same time, if we look forward, well, I believe Tesla will have 1,000 robots working in their factories already next year. But they're not going to have 1,000 robots doing the same thing. That is going to be 1,000 robots doing maybe, 100 different things. But that means that all of those 1,000 robots will learn 100 different tasks at once, just with an over-the-air update. And then they can learn another 100 tasks, and pretty quickly the Optimus robot can do thousands of different tasks pretty quickly. Their learning will be exponential. Also because humanoid robots are evolving at the same time as we see the race for AI dominance as well. So the humanoid robot is colliding with AI that is also learning exponentially, and we don't have to get to AGI to have a very useful humanoid robot that can do extremely many tasks. I think we will, by the end of this decade, already see millions of humanoid robots doing useful work. Just look at BMW and Figure that are also working together right now that are teaching the robot how to do boring and repetitive tasks at the car factories. So this is not just Tesla. Many are racing to be part of this big opportunity. So why do I think Tesla will be the one to bet on? Well, firstly, I think there will be multiple humanoid robot companies doing very well, but I think Tesla has some huge advantage that will set them apart from basically everyone else. Like if we take Figure, for example, well, they have to partner up with their customer to do training like with BMW, but Tesla does that with themselves at their own factories. Tesla are both the supplier and the customer. And Tesla is also making their own batteries that they're going to put into the robot, and their own AI chip that is going into the robot and to their cars, so they will have an even better economy of scale straight away. But most importantly, Tesla is already a manufacturer and have experience in mass production. No one of the many humanoid robot startups has any experience in mass production. And we all know that Elon says prototypes are easy, production is hard. So that is why we see the other guys are teaming up with third-party manufacturing companies to actually manufacture their robots. Tesla will do this by themselves as well. As Elon has said, that is actually what is the most difficult thing about Optimus. As he explained to a guy on X that was skeptic about the use cases for Optimus robot in the short term, as he wrote, well, Optimus is already doing some tasks in the factory and the scope of its ability is increasing rapidly. Yes, but the toughest part by far is the improvement of the design of Optimus for ease of manufacturing and tooling up a complex supply chain so it can be made in significant numbers. Yes, something that someone like Figure has never tried before. They have never manufactured anything in volume, and they are not even the manufacturer. So how would they know how to design a robot to be easy to manufacture like Tesla does? And they have no experience working with a complex supply chain, which I think is not very well understood how difficult just that is. So that is why I think Tesla will be the leader in the humanoid robots, because they have the manufacturing know-how, experience in complex supply chain. They build everything from the robot themselves and don't rely on third-party customers or manufacturing companies, and build their own batteries, AI chip, and is an AI company that already have a massive experience working with neural network and real-world data. And oh yes, have the biggest collection of real-world data to train their neural network from their 7 million cars on the road. And they have one of the biggest supercomputers in the world for training a neural network through video data. Tesla simply has all the pieces, and they own all the pieces. They have even made all the pieces themselves. No other company has all of these advantages as Tesla does. No one. They might have some of them, but not all of them. And Elon knows how to make things go fast. Just as we saw with XAI, that made the biggest supercomputer cluster in the world in 19 days, where the second fastest does that in a year. So that is another advantage Tesla has. They have Elon Musk, that has decades of experience and a good track record of making startup companies into billion-dollar companies and making the impossible possible. So even though I am a Tesla fanboy, I just don't see anyone else as well positioned to take the crown in the humanoid robot race and make it happen much faster than people think is possible. No one, not even in the industry, thought it was possible to build a supercomputer cluster like XAI did in 19 days just a year ago. Now everyone else is trying to find out how the hell did they do that and copy it, because otherwise they will be left in the dust, because they now know that Elon's XAI team will be impossible to catch if they can expand their data centers 2 orders of magnitude faster than they can. But this will not only just be a race between companies, but between countries, as humanoid robots will allow any nation to massively expand its workforce and thus grow its economy on a productivity per capita basis to a degree that has simply been physically impossible up until now. So when these robots start to emerge, you can bet your bottom dollar that the governments will be very supportive of the development and production of humanoid robots. As suddenly, someone like the US that relies on China for many things because they have a much lower labor cost, so they are simply just uncompetitive on cost, well, when Tesla has a humanoid robot for sale, suddenly the US will have an even lower labor cost ready and can just produce more labor. And the implication is not just the disruption of labor, because that is basically disrupting every other disruption. As Rethink X also wrote in their report about the robot, our previous research has shown that disruptions are already underway in energy, transportation, and food, and each of which is a foundational sector of the global economy. Adding the disruption of labor by humanoid robots to the mix will be like hosing gasoline on an already roaring inferno. By making all goods and service cheaper, higher quality, and generally expanding productivity at large, humanoid robots will only accelerate the deployment of each of the constituent technologies behind the other three foundational disruptions as well: solar power, wind power, and batteries in the energy sector, electric autonomous vehicle in the transportation sector, and precision fermentation and cellular agriculture in the food sector. So yes, not only will the rise of AI accelerate everything, but the combination of AI and humanoid robots will accelerate every other disruption as well. The world is going to change dramatically and very fast, as all of these are disruptive S-curves, but now they are all colliding, and we will have an explosion of technological advancement, the likes of which we have never seen before in human existence. And it just happens to be at a time when space travel is also becoming a reality. So Elon thinks we will be able to send Starship to Mars in 2026 when the planets aligns. And he has already confirmed that the cargo will be Cybertrucks and Optimus robots. And just think about the implication of humans being able to send out labor to the moon and build a moon base and a colony on Mars and start mining our solar system. The possibilities are endless, and Elon's companies are at the forefront of these huge disruptions. So to be betting on Tesla when it comes to humanoid robots could be the bet for the ages. So don't say I didn't warn you.
And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.